It's my pleasure to welcome onto the show Colin Berry. Colin, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And it's lovely to have you on the line, Colin. And firstly, we've got to congratulate you on your induction into the Hall of Fame last year. What emotions followed that? Did you know about it?
No, I knew nothing at all. I was sort of conned into going to the dinner up there by a friend of mine, Noel Kinnard, and I was completely taken unaware.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very special night for you, I'd imagine. And it's great to see you being recognised like that. And in terms of your involvement in photography, first of all, Colin, where did the photography start for you?
It was a hobby, very good hobby, and I started as a backup at the photo finish cameras work at the races. And while I was doing that, I got an offer to do some race finish work for Sport Life magazine and then later Friday Flash, and I just started into that like there and just developed a little bit wider when I saw the owners potentially as businesses. You know, that was good. Yeah.
Did you have an interest in racing before that, or did it just kind of happen organically?
It just happened, really. I know my grandfather had racehorses, but I never saw them or anything. But my mum told me about them. But I've always loved animals and loved horses, and I found the horses something quite magnificent animal and enjoy it. Yeah.
It makes some very nice photos just quietly. And outside of racing and photography, Colin, what are your interests? What do you do to relax?
Travel if we can. we like to travel every year overseas if we can, Margaret and I. So that's our big interest in future things to do.
And I guess photography would be a wonderful thing to do while you're out there.
Absolutely, that's correct. There's no pressure on it. Just do it whenever you want and whatever you like. But I've always liked the photography. I like I do stallion photography as well as yearlings, and the stallions can be really good to photograph. I had the opportunity of doing Courage Under Fire one year, and I stood in the middle of the paddock while he ran around me, and you don't normally do that with a stallion. But he was just a gentleman of a stallion, so I did enjoy that very much. Got a lovely shot of him, which is he's looking right at the camera, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, you can. I remember that photo vividly, Colin, because as you say, that the whole essence of that horse just came out of his eye, didn't it?
It did. Yes, that's right. It did. Yeah, he I think he knew what was happening. To be honest, the pose sort of attitude, you know.
Yeah, you're his very own personal paparazzi almost.
Maybe. Yeah. Sounds good. Good.
As you say, you've got a real passion for the photography, and I guess over the years, Colin, you would have seen many changes in the industry and the way you work with your equipment, but what would you say would be the most challenging thing about your job?
Probably on a day like today, which is raining here in Christchurch. That's awkward for everybody, of course, but you've got to watch out for the camera getting condensation in there. If you come out from outside and you go into a hot room, your camera can be in grief, you know. So that is a challenge. And I do remember the fascinating day at Methford a few years ago when it snowed for the last race.
Yes, yeah.
And I was having a laugh with the trackside cameraman beside me by the track, saying, "What are we doing out here?" You know. and the clerk of the course came back, and he was on a white horse in the snow, and he had a red jacket on, and it really was quite something.
Yeah, it was remarkable, wasn't it? And I guess events like that, Colin, to be there, to capture that moment, you must pinch yourself in terms of you get to do this for a living. That's right.
Yes. That is the thing. You know, I see the owners, and quite often I go to a race meeting, for instance, and one owner will walk by me and they'll say, "Hope I can see you later today," and I will laugh about that. And when it does actually happen, it's a buzz and a half, you know.
Yeah.
Just sharing those times with the owners in the birdcage after their win is terrific, and we get a living out of it, you know, as you say. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
it's really good.
A lot of people when they see you after a race, you're the good guy, aren't you? Because you're the guy that means, hey, we've won. And for a lot of people, that photograph is the most important part. They don't care about their money; they just want that photo on the wall.
Yeah, that's the memory that they can get. Yes, and that gives us a buzz too. You know, it is. And what we can do now with the cameras as to what we used to do in the past with roll film cameras and what we can do now is just unreal, really. You know, we used to have one shot at a race finish, one shot at an action shot, and that's it. But now you're 12 to 14 frames up the straight, and and you say you got a good shot. Yes, well, don't throw the other 12 away. You know.
There's so much choice, isn't there? Yeah, there's so much choice. And I guess, as you say, with the change in technology, it's instantaneous now. You know straight away whether you got the shot instead of having to go back. And did you used to have to manually, obviously, print them yourself and wait in the darkroom with them?
Yes, I used to have my own darkroom, and I used to go home after the races and process it. And even our colour films, I used to process my own colour films. And so you didn't know what you got until maybe the next day almost, really. Whereas now it's instantaneous. You say you could take the finish and you have a look and you know what you've got before the horse comes back to the birdcage. It's kind of you're a bit spoiled for that now. That's for certain.
Yeah, obviously it would put more pressure on too to get that spectacular shot. But in terms of some of your favourite memories, Colin, throughout your career, obviously your photos stand up along some of the great races and great horses of the past. Is there any horse or race that stands out in your memory?
Probably my very first one was 1957 when I photographed Lookaway winning the New Zealand Cup. That was the first Cup day I did. And then I see different horses like... and the fire at Addington, when the fire grandstand burnt down, I just happened to have 6 sheets of colour film with me in my big format camera, and Cardigan Bay won that race too. And I got a picture of him leading the field with the grandstand going down in the background. That was quite a memorable thing for certain. And some of the little trotters I loved. I love Scotch Tar. He springs up to my mind. He had presence about him. He was a little compact horse. And he sort of pranced around like, here I am sort of attitude, which is something you look and enjoy about a horse here. Some of those things I liked very much. Christian Cullen I enjoyed. We had the pleasure of going over to Australia when he ran at the Miracle Mile, and that was and he won that, and we got invited upstairs for the celebrations afterwards, which was a total bonus. So, yeah, those things were just lovely.
Yeah, and to be part of that part of racing history, as you say, with those photographs. We do have to wrap up very quickly, Colin, but I just want to ask you, of course, your son's involved, AJ, and there's a lot of people out there that are aspiring to be photographers or love photography. Firstly, how important is it to have your family involved, and what would you say to aspiring photographers?
Well, that's when you mentioned my father. My father helped with me in the very first instance when I was doing the photography, just as doing the turd photos. And now I'm really, really lucky to have AJ working with me because he's easy to get along with, very easy to get along with. He tells me, there's no problem, Dad, so long as you do as you're told. So I take that with, But if you want to be a good photographer, I think you've got to be tear up your prints if they're no good. I always used to say, never be kind to a dud print. Always strive for something better and get a buzz when you do get it. But yeah, don't be afraid to throw the work away if it's not right. Just keep trying. Yeah.
Well, you've done a remarkable job for harness racing, Colin. It's always so nice to see your cheery face on course, and as I say, a lot of people really treasure your work. So thank you for everything you've done for harness racing, and it's been a pleasure to chat to you today.
And thank you very much for the call. I appreciate that immensely. Thank you. 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 That immensely.